Typically, it happens one game along in the bracket, in the grand final. It's happening in the semi-final this time. Fury have had a very slow stage, and unfortunately, they now find themselves up against the big dogs in Bleed going into the semi-finals. Pengu and Dev Mata join me on the desk. Pengu, I've got to ask you, I mean, is this the most anticipated game, or do you think that I'm putting too much emphasis behind Fury?
I mean, if you asked me in the beginning of the stage, then absolutely. But given the track record of Fury this stage, I'm just gonna say no. Also, knowing the results of the NoCap Elevate game, I'm like, it's hard to beat that one. It's exciting, it was thrilling, it was super chaotic. I hope, regardless of the result, that Bleed Fury will be an entertaining match, if anything.
Yep.
And then I expect Bleed to win.
Yeah, it's tough to sell it any other way, Dev. Can you sell me the ticket?
Look, I would like to sell you something. So,
Okay.
exactly 1 year ago, on the 1st of October 2023, Bleed and Fury played each other in the Asia League Stage 2 Last Chance Qualifier, and Fury beat Bleed 2-1. And that was the last time that Fury beat Bleed in a series. 1 year on,
wow.
they've lost to Bleed 4 times since then, twice in BO1s, twice in BO3s. Can they repeat the feat that they did a whole year ago? Probably not, but I'm going to say yes because I'm here for the storyline and I'm here for the underdogs, and I've always rated Fury. They've gone through some really tough times recently, but as Jake tried to spin a bit of a yarn for at the end of the last death segment, there is a way forward for these guys. It's just that they have been dealt a very difficult match ahead of them.
Now, despite being one of the more lackluster teams in the league at this current moment, at least from the teams that we expected to do well, Pengu, there is one player that continues to shine brighter than a damn diamond. Crit J has an absurdly high EPS, but not only that, he is the only player with a triple-digit KD behind you. He has been a monster for a roster that's been struggling.
Crit J is, he basically is the team at this point. He's had a phenomenal performance individually, but I don't necessarily know if the team is utilizing that to its full potential. When we think of star players in the past, whether it's Nesk back on Liquid, for example, just like a really broad spectrum here, it's always Nesk with 2 drones supporting him, full intel. When I look at Fury and I look at Crit J, I'm thinking, okay, Fury, they're doing their own thing in the corner. I'm not sure what's going on. Crit J is just popping off carrying rounds.
Yeah.
And that's a concern for me because it's so much easier to isolate him and shut him down if you're Bleed, and then Fury don't have a whole lot going for them.
Yeah, I've got to ask you, I'm just going to go back to Pengu here before I go to Dev. As a former player, how much credit and kudos do you give Crit J? Like, is this kind of performance on a team that's lacking an overall performance, do you think that goes to speak volumes about Crit J, or do you think maybe he's just playing to the standard he's always played, it's just that the rest of the team aren't there?
No, I think when a team often is struggling, it's the full team, right? There's nobody who's like, oh, I'm a good player, I can carry the team. No. Crit J is probably doing the work of 2.5 of what the other players are capable of doing. So other players are not stepping up. He takes the load for them instead. He's got the entries, he's got the cost, he's got the KD. He is literally doing a job in different categories across the board, and he's doing it consistently. So it's a mix of the both. Players are falling behind, he's stepping up.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, isn't it, when you consider what this man has done over the last, let's just say, month, you know, and he plays the Buck.
Yeah.
Like, he's out here on the soft breach and just absolutely annihilating everyone. Doesn't make a difference. Dev, I mean, as we start to transition into the conversation about Bleed, this is a roster that have all hit strides. Like, look at every single player. There's not a single player you can point out and say you're not doing a good enough job.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right. I mean, all these guys have been firing like crazy. We critiqued Turd a lot in the start of the stage, and then he started to turn up. He had a really big game, funnily enough, against Fury. And of course, there was the whole conversation about his spot being potentially up for grabs and retrialed after the EWC. Leader has been the big surprise for me. He's obviously a, no pun intended, leadership figure for this roster. He's doing a lot of the calling, and yet he's also fragging like crazy. The biggest player on this team in terms of the fragging capability, and arguably the best player in the region right now, is Hoven. He's the only one that comes close to matching Crit J, and we can see it here in the stats. I mean, very, very similar. Hoven just having been in a lot less opening engagements, but yet winning so much more of them. I mean, 11-2 is above a 5.0 KD. That is next level stuff in terms of his entry, and he's also got above a 2.0 KD in his regular kills. So he's just a next level player. He's always having a lot of impacts, big on the multi-kills, and yeah, him and Critch going head-to-head in the server is always such a treat to watch.
We're fortunate enough to get it as well in such a crucial moment, obviously. You know, a Fury that's wounded, are they going to bite back like a wounded animal, or are they going to lie down and let it be? That's really the big question that we come into this with, Pengu. Obviously, when we look at player head-to-heads, there's always that conversation of which player is going to pop off, but it just feels so difficult to sell the story for Fury when you've got Bleed, really the entire roster covering the top 10 players.
Yeah, it comes down to a 1v5 in like this brutal picture, right? Where we look at the average scores here as well, and you might be thinking to yourself, oh, you know, defense win rate only 20% better for Bleed. My guy, they have an 80% win rate on defense, 71% on attack. You don't win a lot of rounds against these guys, and it's also why we saw Hoven with so much fewer kills than Critch. Bleed's games are a lot faster on average. They close out game quickly, and they don't lose. It's very simple. They also had that forfeit victory against Hasib Warriors, so they didn't even play one full match. Bleed have also played Clubhouse 4 times this stage, which means they've been hiding strats for best of threes. They've been hiding maps to the grand finals and the semifinals. Long-term trajectory, Bleed are 4 steps ahead of any other team in the league because they've been hiding those maps.
It's just crazy. Like when I have a look at the amount of rounds that are played, look, whatever we want to talk about with the Civ Warriors discussion, Dev, I understand, you know, it was close to being a very competitive game, and that may have skewed some of the statistics. But think about it like this. Out of 7 matches that have been played for Bleed, they've only played 58 rounds. Like,
yeah,
that just goes to show the utter dominant form they've been in. It's just absurd.
Yeah, and to add to that as well, in the last 6 months, Bleed have only dropped 3 maps to teams that are from the Asia region. Every other map that they've dropped has been to teams like Liquid, M80, Furia, FearX. But within Asia, the only teams that have beaten them on any map in the last 6 months is Elevate, who beat them in a BO1 in Stage 1, and then Fury, who have taken 2 maps off them in 2 separate BO3s between the playoffs of Stage 1 and the EWC qualifiers as well. Bleed are, everyone agrees, the best team in the region right now, and are they going to be able to continue that dominance against a wounded Fury? I think most people would believe so.
Yep, and so we'll just see the first couple of bands come out. Clubhouse is where we're going to kickstart this one. Pengu, what do you think about this? I mean, the last time we saw Fury play, well, the times that we've seen Fury play Clubhouse, their attacks have left so much to the imagination, and not in a good way.
It's a little bit surprising because, as I said earlier, Bleed, they've played this map 4 times in this stage alone, one of them being against Fury, actually. I thought they would leave this now as a permaban for the best of 3s to just show the new stuff, but I think they have the confidence to just go here for our 5th time and just maybe hide it for the grand finals, assuming that they get there. So again, they're playing the long game.
Yeah, and just to add to that, the reason why Bleed is so confident in their Clubhouse is because, yeah, they've played it 4 times. 2 of them were 7-0s. That was against Elevate and Direwolves. There was a 7-4 against Fury and a 7-2 against Rival. But Fury themselves have also played this map 4 times so far in the Asia League, and they did win it all of the times except for against Bleed. The last time that Bleed actually lost this map was, believe it or not, against Fury about 3 months ago in the EWC qualifiers. And since then, Bleed have been undefeated on this map. I want to be optimistic for Fury and say that they've had some time to counter-strat and work on it, but it is it's a hard pill to swallow. And look at that cheeky little pick there from Fury. The first team to play Lair in Asia is now going to pick it again. We saw them play it against Knock Knock in the regular stage. Now they're going to take Bleed to it.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, all the way back in the day, Bleed was saying, "Take us to Lair. We want to play Lair. We want to see what this map is like." And we go to Border for a final map. Pengu, what are your thoughts on the remaining 2 maps?
I've been wanting to see Bleed play Lair for a long time. They're a team that likes to, I don't want to say like innovate, like they changed the meta, but they got their own spin and flair on things. And then, you know, Lair being a very new map where the meta has undecided yet means that they can actually mold this to their own liking. And then they go on Border where they're the best gunners in the league, basically on a team of all 5 players. So I think they got a great map veto here for Bleed.
All right. Well, I would ask for your predictions, but we don't need them because the game is pretty much ready, and we already know what they're going to be. Dev, I know what your prediction is, but we know what's in your heart. You can say whatever you want. We know where this is going. We go to a critical match here for Fury before we end out their stage. They go up against the big dogs of Bleed. Now it's time for our casters, Jake and the medium-sized Peach.
I mean, I would probably say I'm a little bit more like the medium-sized Peach, and you're more like the Jake. But yeah, we'll spin it this way, guys. Big semi-final coming up. I'm not gonna lie. I think that the map veto though suggests to me that Bleed have won it out. Clubhouse is a very, very strong map for Bleed. They've been so dominant throughout the entire stage, arguably for quite a while now, even beating Fury on this very map. And I think at the time we would have been saying, nah, Fury surely won't play this map against Bleed in a best of 3. Well, here we are. And then over to Lair as well, guys. Xenox fun fact for the day, only once throughout the entire stage did Bleed actually ban Lair, and it was the last ban possible against No Cap. So other than that, they've been happy to leave it, and as Rob said on the desk, they've been happy to play it. So I can't help but think this is a map veto that's gone the way of Bleed.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I feel like in a matchup like this, one of us kind of needs to be the good cop and the bad cop, to try and make a case for Fury, and the other to be a little bit more grounded and down to earth. And I'm happy to play bad cop and kind of just say how I think it really is without sugarcoating it. The clubhouse that we have seen from Fury, this particular stage has been really bad. So unless it has been improved and workshopped over the last week, which to be fair, I'm sure it probably has if they've let it slide through the veto, it needs to be a significant improvement to be remotely competitive against Bleed. So I go with the full expectation that even despite starting attack, a 7-2, maybe 7-3 in favor of Bleed is the kind of scoreline that I would be anticipating. And then Lair, with the amount of coaching experience behind this roster and the time and effort that they have likely put into workshopping that map, as mentioned, they're not banning out in vetoes throughout the regular stage, so they're rather comfortable in playing it out. To me, that suggests that a 2-0 scoreline here is quite likely. Now, I think irrespective of the map veto, a 2-0 to Bleed was rather likely, given where Fury are at the moment, but can't help but feel that it looks increasingly more likely now.
Yeah, admittedly, the actual data is skewed a little bit. Fury 7-2 win over Hasib Warriors on Clubhouse. Of course, a very strong win, but against a South Asian team, you kind of put an asterisk next to that. You go all the way back, though, to the opening play day, 7-1, smashing on Clubhouse against Direwolves. So, again, you then also see them beat Rival back in the quarterfinals. This time last week, they won that one 7-5. They've been really strong on their defense. If you actually look at the stats in terms of Asia League, there's only 2 teams, guys, that have an above 50% attack and win rate on this map. It's Bleed and Fury. Bleed as high as 63%, Fury at 57%, which is not too bad. The problem is, and while that seems like a pretty marginal gap, and you're like, oh, Jake, it's only 6%. The gap on defense is astronomical. 91.3% defensive win rate for Bleed, 68% for Fury. Bleed have played 23 rounds of defense club. They've won 21 of them.
And again, these two head-to-head in the regular stage on Clubhouse, that's really what I'm basing a lot of my thought process on with that earlier statement. Fury in that matchup, sure, able to collect the 4 rounds, which is okay, but the quality of the siege that they brought inside of the server that particular play day was far behind expectation. But we'll see how this match eventually unravels. Dark and Turd both taking a chunk of damage to open up the opening round. In terms of bans, quickly highlighting those, the Grim was taken off the board, and in fact both shields will persist in this matchup, so that will be a little bit more impactful over towards the likes of CCTV and Cash. Monty for the rafters clear. The basement though, we don't typically see the Monty outside of maybe a dirt push, but not the play this time around. Bleeder, big advocates for Osa on this particular side of Mentalist to play it first round. Typically, they go for either a hatch drop or a push down main through Ashwall to try and plant inside of Arsenal. And this, if they go for that play, should be ready. They should be ready for it. If I know it's likely, Fury definitely should know that it's on the cards and have something prepared to try and counter it.
Best team in the league when it comes to their entry kills, and Bleed not changing that up here in the semi-final. Turds, they're getting the opening pick. Logic Bomb rings out. Down below in basement on the final 4 defenders. Battle towards Dirt, though. PG Man's going to have to fall back. He's still got pressure coming in his position as Lycolis, though. Steams forward, gets the kill, and there is a trade of kills towards Dirt. Ends up still with Bleed having an extra player up, 3 versus 2. But certainly a little bit of damage done back by Fury. They look a little bit susceptible now onto site, and it is a first floor hold right now for Bleed. So I imagine it might get some pressure main. They got one lurking over towards Secret. That's Hoven. Whereas it's Kitchen at the moment for Turd and Mentalist.
Yeah, I like this position from Crit J. Put the Star Fragger in the position to really try and counter that Osa play inside of Arsenal. In fact, he actually progresses up main for a bit of info. He could commit for the flank. Risky play, though.
Like, that's a big piece of utility to go lurking. It may work. No. Oh, the Nitro.
Oh.
Mid-locker position for Mentalist. He does not lose his life, but he is also now very low. 30 HP combined for Mentalist and Turd. An easy one for I9. Flash for White. Need to follow up. Indeed, it's done. Nicely done from Hoven. Crit J. Now he too is low on health. Low on time, though. Bleed. Mentalist gets off the plant. Maybe wanting to help, and he just got them both. The collateral headshot to close the round. Perfect start for Fury. And oh no, indeed, cuz, to lose it like that.
Wow. Okay, well that throws a couple of the storylines already into a bit of disarray there in the opening round. It confirms Crit J. So again, as highlighted by the desk, if you are just joining us, Crit J, absolutely insane, incredibly talented, and despite Fury having a pretty poor stage, he has been statistically performing incredibly well for the league. So great clutch from him, played a good power position, hit the initial Nitro, got Mentalist really low, and then hit the spray at the end. For Bleed, though, their efficiency in stark contrast to what we expected. We see Turd's solo push, and the flash was mistimed over towards dummies, and that, you know, really opened up the round for the defense. And then we saw the indecision there at the end. They initially go for the plant, then perhaps not feeling comfortable taking 2 straight 1v1s and leaving the planter on an island for a difficult trade. They then instead bob up, line up, which is a bit unfortunate and a little bit unlucky, to be frank, but still a misplay. And yeah, Crit J there to punish. So, look, that's likely to be an outlier. I don't want to set the tone that, you know, this is an absolute disaster. It's an opening round. It's an attack. It can be difficult to find your feet. But it just sows a small seed of doubt that Bleed are prone to mistakes. They're rare, but they can happen. And Fury capitalized.
Yeah, I'm not too worried. It's one round. It's also defense for Fury on Clubhouse. The expectation is that they should realistically do well in this first half. I don't think you're going to be seeing any worrying signs for Bleed in their camp just yet. Still all smiles between Mentalist and Turd as Reaps is tapping away as we get through this technical pause. The one sign, though, that would be alarming is if Crit J gets off the leash, guys. If he can have a, you know, transformational performance where he just goes and drops 30. 25 plus, something ridiculous. He's capable. He's absolutely capable. Crit J, you could make the argument he's the best player in the league, and he's going to be the difference maker. If there's ever a world in which Fury beat Bleed, it's not with Crit J at the bottom of the KDA pile. It's him at the top of it. Hopefully we can get back into this one soon, but I'm not too sure. Judging by the fact that we are still missing a player from Fury. BG Man needing to restart his game, and he has returned timely.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
So back into the second round we go. Gym bedroom, top floor, after Fury winning out into the basement site. And again, all eyes on now a response from Bleed, but again, attacking in this half, guys. It's more the expectation, I guess, for Fury. I imagine they'll just play this in a rather defaulty way. Extension over towards Cash and Red. Don't imagine we're going to see too many tricks here on Club.
Yeah, we saw the Monty, again, pre-picked. And I thought that was maybe an anticipation for CCTV Cash. However, it will not, in fact, be, well, that site, the repick not initiated by Mentalist and will be committed into. And so that tool is still actually quite useful if you want to go for a map clear across, and that selection would, to me, indicate that that will be the case. So expect a bit of action over towards the likes of CCTV Cash early on into the round. Dark is posted up there currently, so there may be some pretty active work from the Bandit in order to try and help deny the double hard breach here from the attack. That being said, Jacuzzi is also going to be a point of interest, and it is, I should excuse myself, triple hard breach with the Maverick, of course. And so that too will pose a bit of a threat. And Bleed not wanting to take any second chances in opening up as many walls as possible, and by doing so, applying a lot of pressure onto this defense.
Yeah, again, not a whole lot for Fury to lose, being this the map pick of Bleed. All expectation is that they win this map and win it comfortably. So rounds that you can get on the board nice and early here on defense just can, yeah, as you said before, beautifully sow the seeds of doubt. Colas droned over towards toilets. Again, Jacuzzi, though, the main focus for Bleed. We do get ourselves towards the halfway mark of this round, though, and little gained outside of Jacuzzi pressure. It's a slow encroaching push, though, from Mentalist on the top of the roof to drop down logistics with the shield of the Montaigne. Leader playing behind and just trying to push Crit J out of stash here and away from that mirror window. The Nitro Cell, well, ineffective, but pressure onto Mentalist. Eventually, though, with a bit of help, they can deal with Crit J. That's a nice double kill for Bleed and just slowly unlocking this round. But Dark, very important kill.
No, you can't 1v1 Monty. You can't 1v1 Monty. It's been well established at this point in time. So that was an ambitious play, although options were very limited.
Mentalist puts the shield aside, pulls out the pistol, and almost lining up for Lycolis on main stairs, but no collateral this time. And Bleed will get themselves an early attacking round here on Gym Bedroom. Not ideal for Fury. And that's why I think going back to the opening round, guys, you know, you don't kind of just sit there and over-celebrate the round. Sure, it was quite a fascinating way to win the round. The double headshot collateral from Crit J. It's an awesome way to kickstart the semi-final, but ultimately, you've already given up an attacking round on one of the primary sites, and it really does sort of highlight how difficult this map is going to be for Fury.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Yeah, much better application of pressure in that round from Bleed. And able to get a lot of value from that particular shield of the Monty, and that is, again, going to be a consistent theme. That's the expected consistent theme throughout this entire match, and by extension, the series as well, depending on how the operator plans play out. See it here in the third round, so a garage default push is going to be the play here for the attack. They have the Monty, yes, and the Capitao in play. Bleed were comfortable banning out the Grim, and so that may limit a little bit of pressure that they can apply over towards Garage, but I will also say that when the sides flip, and Fury, as I have kind of alluded to in the past, looks a little bit poor on this map, especially clearing rafters, they won't have that tool available to them either, so this kind of composition and ban phase that is forcing it is really going to reward teams that clear rafters correctly and really precisely, so we'll see how they go about it, Bleed. There's no catch here from Fury in this round, so no Wamai to counter the Capitao. Also, no Azami to offer additional protection. And so, whoever is tasked with playing that Rafters position, which is currently BG Man, so he's going to lean into a potential self-heal with the Stim Pistol, is going to have a big role in this particular round.
Not totally abnormal. I think we see the Doc play that kind of position every now and then, and you kind of take the pressure and then Stim Pistol back up. Sometimes you can get pushed out by the flames, take a little bit of damage, heal back up, take your spot again. But it's also not exactly the normal operator of choice for that position. These are the big rounds, though. Tertiary site. Fury can win, a cash and CCTV on defense. It does then somewhat offset the fact that they did lose out on Gym Bedroom. Okay, Vulcan canister pop just to send Mentalist back. He's taken a little while, though, to get down the stairwell. I would have to imagine, guys, was that canister not spotted by Bleed? It was a little bit lackadaisical from Mentalist.
Yeah, not entirely sure, but either way, good placement there from Lycolis, the canister, and well detonated by BG Man at the correct timing. And it
There's
means
another
now
one at
that
the top of the stairs.
yeah, it means that Mentalist has such a small margin for error. It needs to try and bait this out.
Well,
Oh,
Flames
he
on
survived.
either side of the rafters. He's got his own Vulcan canister from Lycolis on one side and the asphyxiating bolt from Hoven on the other. One does last a little longer than the other, though. And BG Man, well, I mean, that's actually a pretty good strategy in some ways. Look how much longer, Guz, the Vulcan canister will burn than the bolt. So even though he's essentially stuck there, BG Man, he can't get back. I know he does end up dying. The Vulcan canister denies Mentalist the ability to push up, but in the end, just like that, when it just seemed like maybe the minigames were going the way of Fury,
The attacker's bomb
2
diffuser has
kills
been dropped.
in a row at the same time, and that is now a huge advantage for Bleed with 30 seconds to go.
I mean, that's the power of Bleed. Even when a round feels like it's momentarily stalled out, they're able to then find that pick and open up the round. And again, it was Mentalist on that occasion off the back of the pressure offered by the Capital. There is still a decent amount of utility though available here to the defense. Nitro Cell in pocket, Flames to stall out default, and so for Bleed, they may actually be forced deep here, which will make things a little bit challenging.
All right, at the castle barricade, Nitro Cell, this could be good. Indeed it will. I9 gets a huge kill, but maybe was not anticipating Reaps to be behind. Leader to get the plant down. Well, he was about to get that plant down successfully anyway, and the final kill does come through. Bleed will find themselves a second attacking round in a row.
Yeah, I really like that late round pivot from Bleed. As mentioned, the Flames and the Nitro had the potential to really disrupt that round, and so we see that send through Con. And sure, it looks a little bit goofy for Mentalist, but it just soaked up the Nitro, applied good pressure Con. There was the trade potential there, and it offered the route eventually for Reaps to actually find that final kill. I believe the third player was maybe outside near Repel potentially, and so there was actually still that window of opportunity if Reaps wasn't able to navigate through Con to have that plant denied, and it would have been a Fury round. So yeah, good work from Bleed, able to flip around a pretty awkward start to the round, especially not getting as much early value from the Monty as they would have liked. But again, that's the power of Bleed. They're such a strong team, and being able to, I think, just refocus mid-round and identify proper win conditions and actually execute upon that. They're not going to try and brute force something that's not working, and more often than not, they'll find the correct solution or the most optimal solution, which they're able to do in that round.
5 seconds to go.
Yeah, it's only the early days though, but Bleed just seemingly in control. Even the one round that Fury did win, Guz, was, you know, fundamentally a round that Bleed were ahead for the majority of said round. 3 rounds in now, 3 opening kills, so Bleed are just honestly making this look a little bit too easy. It is clubhouse defense, and the only round Fury have been able to win was that basement hole at the end with a double kill, where I think it was more a mistake than anything from Bleed's particular side. I need to see a little bit more aggression from Fury. Can they find a way to do a little bit better in these early engagements? Credit to Turdster. He's 2 from 3 now in terms of these entry engagements. Having a pretty decent start in this game alongside Mentalist as well, who, even though playing the shield op, has got himself 3 kills. 5 for Turd. So much spoken about him throughout this stage, and a heavy emphasis on making sure that he performs in this stage, going into Montreal, and certainly feels as if he has really risen to the occasion. Oh, what a shot from Reaps, though. Wins the battle in towards Logistics, gets the headshot onto Crit J, who outside of that double kill collateral in the opening round has really failed to fire a shot.
Yeah, that's the danger man off the board. So again, we should see Bleed in another pretty comfortable position to execute upon Arsenal with that OSA. Didn't quite pan out as optimally as we've seen in the past for them last time around. Instead, it was, reliance on planting underneath the kitchen hatch, which isn't exactly how they typically want to play it. We'll see now, off the back of that advantage, if they've now got a little bit more freedom to execute upon the more default play down main. In the meantime, though, they have an opportunity now to activate those boogie auto breaches. You can see it right-hand side of the screen, and so that makes pretty easy work of kitchen hallway. It can also be used in kitchen itself. Down in Arsenal, there's a player on drone at the moment, and Bird will relay that, so an opportunity maybe to collect the second kill there in the round. They're just still working the hatch currently, though, and that play Arsenal will eventually need to vacate. You can see just how much work is being done by those auto breaches, and with really good efficiency. And alongside that, a lot of the utility on side as well being dealt with handsomely by this attack. So 30 seconds from the clock. Bleed are pretty well positioned to try and get that Osa into play, still with 2 Talon shields available.
Well, last time the clock was winding down, Fury was still able to bring the round back on this very site. Good kill from BG Man. Shuts down Hoven. The drop to come through with Talon shield in front of his face. Mentalist able to just get himself into that corner. Leader though caught out, and that's another big kill from BG Man. 2 in this round. 6 seconds to go, and not going to be able to get this plant down. That is the round. It's a very late drop. Turt's still inside the kitchen. Reaps dropping into Arsenal, but no time remaining to get that kit successfully onto the floor. Nicely executed from Fury to deny the very plant that Bleed wanted. And I think that's just the kind of round where Bleed maybe need to think about a fallback plan B. Smokes was still up. Too much emphasis on the one win con, and yeah, credit to Fury.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Bleed saw in that particular round, or if it was a preset plan that led to them again going for a hatch drop. As I mentioned, pre-execute, typically they'll also push down main and push the Ash Wall and actually plan sort of deep towards Arsenal and then cut off, you know, long, short, etc. The reason being that, yeah, that this plant position is a lot more risky into the smoke or nitro cells as well, because you're tucked in that pocket. You don't really have a backup plan either. There's nowhere Mentalist can go once he commits to that play to escape any denial utility either. And they hadn't cleared AKs for an instance as well, and the Azami was providing good protection back there. So, yeah, for a team that I've been praising of finding win conditions, that round there, it was actually their weakest so far in being able to achieve that objective. So, a testament to Fury in being able to deny that particular plan. So, a good round from them on the defense. See if they can carry this momentum forward, because, as many would say, 2 attacking rounds is pretty solid even on your map pick.
Attackers are heading out to defuse the bomb.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Fury, it's just all about winning these little mini battles, and can they just keep the score close and, you know, get this to, you know, like a 5-5, for example. Can they just keep this as close as possible, keep Bleed within striking distance, and then just hope you can win a couple of those 50-50 rounds. Utu at the moment, and Hoven onto the Kali. Thatcher is, of course, available, but the Kali can do a couple of things, and also can be posted outside gym window, for example. Does a decent job of, you know, clearing this Jacuzzi wall and then offering threat on the balcony. I imagine this should get opened up rather comfortably, though, with Dark over towards Cash. Jacuzzi will see no troubles from Bleed. So now it's kind of a double option choice for Hoven. He can kind of just hold Jacuzzi Breach. Looking down the hallway, he can go outside gym bedroom. We'll see what he opts to do with the Kali from here. For everyone else now, it's about vacating Jacuzzi and finding other avenues into sight.
I'm changing mags.
Yeah, they will retain a lurk presence over towards Jacuzzi Balk, but the expectation now being that Bleed will look to pincer from some kind of alternate angle. They could try and shortcut that a little bit and go direct Logi, or even set up a play up main, and Reaps is looking to be pretty eager to make that particular play. Good workout. But somebody needs to draw the attention away from Breach a little bit. Otherwise, Fury will be able to establish those crossfires. There is also a bit of vertical pressure down below from Turd to try and free up Bathroom, potentially Gym as well. And so they do their due diligence here, Bleed, but they haven't really found probably as much as they would have liked. So
That's slow.
we'll see how they pivot. Time's not the biggest issue here. It's about getting value from, you know, this portion of the round, and I don't know if they really have.
I mean, clearly this is going to be an emphasis on pushing top main. The 90 control. Repel in from Reaps. A little nerve-wracking, but he has made his entry successfully in. Pressure immediately from that bedroom doorway, and it's another opening kill. Reaps on to Crit J for the second round in a row, but Fury respond vigorously, and Mentalist can't make his way in through Jacuzzi. Turd unable to offer an avenue of success either, and that will be the round. Reaps may have got the opening kill from this position, but he is about to be the last death from this position. Fury holds strong on Gym Bedroom, and they take the lead here on Clubhouse.
Yeah, the pre-execute ended up actually looking alright for Bleed once Reaps was able to get in a top main position, won a massive fight there onto Crit J as well, and I thought that would have been a good point in the round for them to go for the push. They recognized that and went for it, but Jim was pretty unaccounted for in the end, and that Waits position was locked down by, I believe it was I9. That SMG able to do a lot of work, and those from Breach weren't able to land those trades, even with, bathroom clear and this pressure here from Reeves. Yeah, it was I9, so yeah. He holds firm over towards Jim. If he had have died and they were able to flood and go for a Waits default, round plays out very, very differently, but yeah, they just couldn't clear him.
Well, one more round for Fury to get. Can they get to 4? 4's the pass mark. 4 would put them in a good position going into the second half. It wouldn't be the first time Fury would be getting an upset over Bleed. It just keeps, that seed of doubt in the back of minds for Bleed, especially if things don't go well in the second half. They had to follow after this, the map pick off Fury. They could cause a real boil over if they could take Clubhouse. So much still to be done. No one has really broken this game open just yet, though. Crit J just 2 and 4. Turd and I9 both leading all comers with 5 kills apiece. Got a BG man in there as well. It's been a pretty even performance from, well, just about all 10 players, to be honest. It's actually really nice to see. But who can be the one to just tank this game? Zami this time for BG Man on that rafters position rather than the dock. Clearly didn't work out last time. No Goyo, so no open canisters. Barbed wire will get dealt with by the Roteros. This is the last one from Reaps. Final Rotero drone will be pretty successful. And all in all, on the Flores has done a decent job.
Yeah, I mean, we see that rather large pivot towards utility here for the defense, but it won't be too impactful off the back of that really good play from Reaps, so clean work from him. And so we'll see what the fallback strat now is for Fury. By the way, I will also note they still have 4 pieces of barbed wire that have been completely unused, so that's an oversight.
Yeah, there's a lot of barbed wire.
So if any player here hits a work up main and there's no barb on it, that's a big mistake. There probably is a piece, but anyway, only a small note. Big push in the round. The determining factor will be this push through Raj.
Surely BG Man can't get out of here. Surely he is stuck in that corner. Momentarily escapes the clutches of the Montang shield, though. Yet another opening kill for Bleed Guz. 6 rounds and 6 opening kills. Quite staggering. Gaspabe just keeping Mentalist at the top here. 12 HP. BG Man has to make sure he doesn't get over aggressive. An angle found finally, but on 2 HP. Eventually goes down to Leader holding towards that CC breach. Gaspabe continuing to stall out. One more available for I9 with 30 seconds left. I mean, Mentalist is very low here on health. This is a very winnable round for Fury.
Yeah, they have secondary hard breach, so that will be used to open up default. No nitro cell denial here for Fury, so this next Gaspabe needs to be perfectly placed.
Lycolis is somewhat close by, coming in from behind though. Does he catch him indeed? Headshot onto Leader towards Logistics, flashes out Mentalist to get the plant down, but immediately there is that Gaspabe to get him on the floor. 2 players up at the moment for Bleed, only 1 for Fury. 3 seconds remaining, gotta get that kit and get on it immediately. Good kill from I9 to stop Reaps, and no time for Turd to get that diffuser. It's a tertiary site win for Fury. It's a huge one, and you can see it from I9's camera. He loses the glasses. The glasses have gone flying, Guz. I9's pumped and so are Fury. 4 rounds up to 2. But now they go on to the attack. And this is where it's going to be very, very difficult.
Damn, I feel a bit silly at the moment. I was praising Bleed's ability to identify win cons, and then in that round, sure, the mid round they tied it up. They eventually did a decent job in pressuring Rafters and finally got back control. But then in the late round again, they go for a default plan. I'm interested to watch this back. So yeah, 10 seconds left, and they immediately send it towards default. I do wonder if Mentalist potentially could have tried to plant somewhere else. Now the Maestro camera, there was one CCTV. Okay, so maybe that complicates things a little bit. Obviously, he can't be in line of sight of that being so low on HP. But as I said, the gas babe had to land, and if it did, and they went for the default plant, which is exactly how it played out, it was going to have a massive impact. And yeah, they did a really good job playing around that Fury. So for a match that, admittedly, I think I said, what, 7-2, 7-3, I thought it was going to be incredibly one-sided to open up this piece. It's really been anything but. And that's a testament to Fury, who so far have genuinely been playing far better than we've seen in the past.
Yeah, well, I mean, 6 rounds, 6 attacking rounds for Bleed, and they got 6 opening kills, but can't convert. Only converting in 2 of them, guys, which is quite a strange statistic to read out for a team of Bleed's caliber, that they can't find conversions. So Fury at least offsetting that, but it would be nice to see them maybe start getting some opening kills. And the biggest detriment has been the fact that it's Crit J does 0 and 3 on entries in that opening half, which means that for half of the rounds that we just played out, despite Fury now leading 4-2, yes, they were on defense, but their superstar player just hasn't been involved. That's concerning. In fact, sorry, it's 0-4. 0-4 on entry for Crit J.
Yet they've remained competitive. And I don't know if you said it, but just to like reiterate, the last 4, and Fury have won the last 3 or 4 rounds.
Yeah,
So,
won the last 3. Yeah, I mean, and they've won every single round so far without getting the opening pick. So it really does sort of highlight there's probably another level they can go to. Admittedly, you're on attack now, so this changes everything. Absolutely, job done in the opening half. But I said it before at the start of this game, guys. The very damning statistic is very much that for Bleed on this map, 21 or 23 rounds successfully won on defense. So you've got to now kind of change history in a very short amount of time as the Boogie Auto Breacher does its job up above in the kitchen hallway. No entry engagement yet. Thorn from Hoven. Intriguing. Maybe Razor Blooms over towards Dirt side.
yeah, Fury definitely found a new level in that first half, but Bleed is such a challenging opponent that they need to now find another gear on top of what they've already shown so far. Big Nitro over triple, but like Cole's able to wear it. So that's big. He can continue to post up long and feed information if he spots anything deep out of towards Arsenal, or I was going to say anything over towards short, but Moto's open, so that won't be a play option. Do Fury go for a triple hit here? Or do they maybe go for Ashwall? I mean, both options are a potential, I suppose, but triple... Oh, I was going to say more likely, but no, they do in fact go for the Ashwall plant, drop it down, get and hatch. So this is what Bleed typically would do with the Osa, but instead this time in the Monty, smoke and utility making things challenging here for like Colas as Fury tried to cover.
No more gas babes though for leader, so now it's a question of Nitrosols, of which there's only one. Turd inside of Arsenal at the back with that mirror. Oh, good shot. I9, there's the opening pick for Fury. First one in this game, a second to follow towards Moto. I9 has his glasses on and locked in. 3 quick kills to open this up, and the plan is successful. Leader in Reaps with so much to navigate in this round. It starts off though with a kill towards blue as Reaps gets a huge kill. But time is of the essence. A late clear of Moto. BG Man holds strong. Traded though quickly. Reaps has 3. He needs the ace though. And he needs to more importantly deal with this Montang. From above, you've got Crit J shooting at you. 20 seconds. 18 time running. Out. And no, says Lycolis in the corner. You are not getting past this particular shield. Fury are going to go 5-2 up in the semi-final on Bleed's map pick of Clubhouse.
Wow, what a play from I9. I tell you what, that was insane. Somebody in that moment had to step up. The plant setup there from Fury didn't really exude a ton of confidence. I think there was maybe a world in which it probably still would have worked out. They drew out a lot of utility, but still, I9 able to dump the flash utility and then just go bang, I'm going to step up, pushed short, collects these kills. Obviously, there was the first down long, and then yeah, this second through short, absolutely massive. Plant could then be secured, and the retake attempt from Bleed was valiant. But when you're facing a Monty plus a player on Vert, you are absolutely in no world unless there's an almighty throw ever winning that round. So for Bleed, they now find themselves in a pretty tough position. They're certainly the toughest this particular stage. It's their map pick, and at the moment they are genuinely, I think, being outplayed, which I, again, did not expect to be saying this evening.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think they've been outplayed in every single round overall, and there's certainly been moments here or there. I think more importantly, though, Fury look like they're playing with a little bit more heart and passion. And you can clearly see that, especially in the player camera and the reactions and the way that I9 is just playing so well here. 9 kills for him. And I think I said it maybe at the end of the first half, guys. Like, no one's really kind of taking this game by the scruff of the neck and taking over. Well, I9 now is the one that's kind of gone and done that huge round. He's up 9-4, +5 on the KD. Most importantly as well, he got the opening kill in that engagement, right? So that's the first time in this entire match. We're into the 8th round now. And Fury are leading 5-2, and that was the first round that they actually won an entry engagement, and it converts into a round win as well. So that's quite telling, that's quite fitting, and most importantly, you're doing all of this so far without your superstar. Arguably the superstar of the competition in Crit J, who's playing 2-5 at the moment and now onto the Blitz. So it goes to highlight there are certainly pieces here for Fury. If Crit J's not firing, you can still have some success. You know, I9, BG Man, they're more than capable.
Yeah, no, that was exactly the point that I was going to bring up. And we talked about it, or the boys on the desk talked about it a little bit in the pre-show, right? Is, you know, Crit J being an outstanding performer in the league, but the rest of the team struggling. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Maybe that can be thrown out of the window here, at least on the first map. He is statistically the poorest performer on the team at the moment, not just in kill count, but overall EPS rating. So his impact has not been particularly big and far below the standard and the average that he has set himself throughout Stage 2. But others have stepped up to the mark, and the team play overall, especially in the last third of these rounds, has been really clean from Fury. So I don't know what they've done over the last week. Were they sandbagging during the regular stage? I don't think so. But they look like a pretty different team, at least right now. But the job's not done. And Bleed have shown time and time again, when they are backed into a corner, they will fight back. It's very rare that they'll drop their heads and let a game completely unravel. And so for Fury, they must maintain this pressure, and mistake minimization is absolutely critical.
They should be absolutely wary of the fact that Leader likes to play Oil Pit. Anyone that's done their research here and has watched Bleed on this map, Leader in Oil Pit with a Nitrocell is very common. Although typically more so on a cache and CCTV site, so this is a heavy extension. Reaps does get the kill onto BG Man, running on through now in towards CCTV. Crit J running around the rack here in the middle of the room. Flash, I don't think was really all that successful, needing a bit of help from others as I9 trying to play outside on the window. Crit J eventually losing his life there on the Blitz. There was at least one kill back for Fury, but finding themselves on their back foot now in this 8th round. Down a player, certainly not healthy either, with Lycolis and Dark losing quite a bit of health. And Leader has got himself back into Logistic as well for more defensive cover for Bleed. 40 seconds remaining in the round, and it doesn't seem like the double shield setup for Fury is going to pay dividends.
Yeah, the triple stack over towards Garage there was pretty clean from Bleed, and Crit J not getting enough support in enough time on that Blitz. So the rest of the team now in a very awkward position, and Bleed should be able to lock out this round.
Yeah, they haven't even really got close to sight. Nitrocell avoided. Entry in through the window, double stack in towards Cash, but it's their own team. It's I9 who's doing such a good job of killing people. He's killed his own Montang. Lycolis will go down, the round will be over, and Bleed will fight back after subsequently a timeout that was certainly needed, and they have responded.
Yeah, again, I love that triple stack Garage. We saw Reaps get the opening pick. He was prone underneath the window leading into CCTV, so perhaps an unexpected position being held. And then even with the follow-up pressure from the Blitz, Bleed again, did a really nice job of just, they found the perfect window. They stalled out enough time to get support, so it wasn't a 1v1, because, 1v1ing shields at the moment is insanely difficult, if not impossible most of the time. To have a 2v1 fight, but then it takes so long to clean up the shield that Fury couldn't reposition towards the likes of vents and angle and maybe find a trade or whatever. So they timed that window really perfectly, and that was a pivotal moment in the round, and Bleed were able to step up on that particular occasion. So really good work from them. The rest of the round unraveled, as you can see in the replay. It was never winnable from that point. 3 players still stranded on the opposing side of the map, and not much of the checklist was done. So solid work from Bleed. And it's just about going on a round-by-round basis. It's the classic cliche of Siege, but Bleed are a team that is so good at it.
Now, if I remember correctly, the desk, we usually do the head-to-head graphic guys. Was it not Hoven and Crit J that were the 2 perennial stars pitted head-to-head?
Yeah.
Well, right now it's 2-7 to 2-6 between them. So
That's crazy.
that is not something that was expected coming into this semi-final, at least for the opening map. It does mean, though, for both teams, certainly, some superstar players that haven't quite been performing, that can find an extra level to go to. As that secret castle barricade gets opened up. Double digits, though, for Reaps. It feels like Reaps, to me, is the kind of player throughout, regular season. He's a little cruisy, but then when it's the big games, that's when you get the Reaps show. And he's certainly turning it on right now in this game of Clubhouse, leading all comers, the only player in the server with double-digit kills.
It's interesting. Hoven, statistically not doing great, but he also hasn't really harmed his entry stat all too much. Just the 1 entry death. And you compare that to Crit J, again, who's had 4 unsuccessful entries. So stark contrast. Comes down a little bit to some of the operators that he has been playing, but admittedly, he's not throwing away his body early on into these rounds, which is positive.
I mean, not
round
really,
9, though.
He's been playing Castle and Mute and Oryx, so that's where all 4 of his...
Hoven.
Oh, I was talking about Crit J, sorry.
Ah, no. I'm talking about Hoven. He hasn't really been playing entry
No,
operators.
yeah. Little peek down below, spotted. Dark, I think they spotted each other, though, this instance. Leader doesn't just cross there without spotting Dark, surely, although he re-peeks out. And maybe didn't spot him. Dark in towards Blue and has a really good position as Fury were able to get themselves up 5-3, but a good trade from Hoven. Still now deep in towards Church. Dark trying to fight a little bit more. Must be wary of the fact, though, that someone could be inside of Moto. Indeed, Mentalist sits. Dark, a little lackadaisical, but he does fire out a couple of shots. Back in behind, triple wall opened up. Mentalist does get the kill, but everyone falling by the wayside elsewhere. Back of Arsenal, Plank going down successfully. And there is another player here as well, ready for that push. It's Crit J. Well, that round never looked likely for Bleed whatsoever. That was totally dominant from Fury. And they take basement once again. And now the alarm bells surely are ringing in the Bleed camp. Match point, Fury. Map point on Bleed's map. It's 6-3. It is very, very bad for Bleed that they've lost around in this capacity, because this is just like walking into sight and taking it. A team of their caliber, that's not good enough.
Yeah. Best of 3, and we see reverse sweeps frequently, so irrespective of this point onwards, if Fury are to win, it's by no means, by absolutely 0 means, especially with Lair in the mix, that they are secured victory here in the series. But, and I'm sure the desk eventually will probably share this consensus as well, Bleed it, just not playing up to their standard. And Fury have managed to turn around their narrative, and even without, a big Crit J performance, their team play has looked better in this match, a little bit more well-rounded. The mistake minimization has been better. Bleed have already burnt their tactical and only rewarded with the 1 round post that as well. Yeah, alarm bells are certainly going to be humming a little bit in the background. Thankfully for Bleed, these 5 players have Julio over their shoulder, and I'm sure he will offer a lot of value in this series. He has a lot of experience international in these kind of scenarios, but as humble as Bleed may have tried to be going into this series, absolutely, I find it, I refuse to believe they would not have expected a 2-0 victory today. So if they are to lose this map, it's going to be a bit of a shock to the system that they'll have to deal with.
yeah, not gonna lie, was not anticipating this result in this fashion. I wouldn't have been shocked, guys, and I don't think you would have either if someone had said Fury win Clubhouse, but
Attackers located by
just in the manner in which this game has developed from the utterly dominant opening engagements for Bleed to the utterly dominant late round scenarios for Fury.
bomb diffuser has
Big kill for Hoven, but we've been in this position too many times into the 10th round, and only twice have we seen Fury actually get opening kills. So yes, the trade back. Crit J gets rid of leader. No shock. Back to 4 versus 4. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but the fact that Fury don't really need these opening engagements really does sort of highlight that they are playing some very good Siege right now. That's a very good Rotero. Gets rid of the Frostmat and the Keeper Barrier.
Well, we see Turd frequent this position, and so a lot of pressure on him this round. We'll be looking to work alongside Hoven in preventing the Monty and the Capital on having impact, but we're seeing a pivot here from Fury. So they've shown a willingness to pivot on these attacks. Maybe not feeling particularly comfortable pushing over the barrage, maybe wanting to catch this defense off guard.
Well, I9 picking up the pace here. There's still 60 seconds in the round. Oh, lots of time. Pulls out the pistol. I9 maybe just overheating, but Mentalist caught on the side thinking that maybe he was safe. He was not. There was another player inside of Con. He dies top red, and it keeps things equal and even between these two teams. No more shield play for Fury. 40 seconds. Barbed wire's already been dealt with. The flash to go up now. Crit J, though, from behind. Lost his life to hold. What a shot! Dark! He will put Turd's lights out. PG Man over towards the exterior on main breach. He does have the diffuser. Yes, he does. But a big kill from Reaps, and suddenly little time now for Dark remaining. Hoven, 5 HP, just can't move. But he stays still and loses his life. Reaps, does he make contact or does he peek? He peeks. Oh my goodness. Reaps, able to clutch up big for Bleed, and we continue on Clubhouse.
Wow. Look, in a match where Bleed as a team have not looked up to their usual standard, very high standard at that, I think Reaps can be applauded with how he has performed so far tonight. His impact has been felt across so many of these rounds. He's sitting at, as well at a 100% cost, a +3 entry, and even there in the final round, having that clutch factor about him as well. Hoven got caught. There's nothing he can do in that position. But then Reaps with a perfectly timed swing, able to land that shot. And Bleed just keeping their head above water, but it does feel so sketchy at the moment. Bleed have not had to scrap together a win throughout this particular stage, at least not on face value, whereas already here, map 1 of the semi-final, it feels very much like that is the case. So they are having to work for every single inch of the map. And that's a testament to Fury playing quite well as well.
10 seconds to go. 5 seconds remaining.
Still 2 more opportunities for Fury to close this one out on Clubhouse. They'll be kicking themselves if this manages to go to overtime. So Cash and CCTV won successfully for Bleed, but what has been giving them trouble so far has been Church Arsenal, guys. That's been the most intriguing aspect of this half. Won twice by Fury. We head there again. And Bleed this time around, though. Come out on the other side successful. Hoven. Intriguing position here as he went prone temporarily in the kitchen hallway. Instead now backtracks over towards main stairs. Everyone, though, holding pretty much default positions. 1 dirt, 1 secret, 1 main. 2 on site. Turd will place that mirror window now in towards blue. Ren gets shot out. Couple have fallen pretty quickly for Fury. Still pretty much outside the building, so haven't really made swift entry in anticipation, I think, of a more aggressive round from Bleed. Bleed not getting too aggressive, though.
Bomb has been located.
13 kills for Reaps. He's been the standout. As I9 will make first entry.
Yeah, we're seeing the Kite Electro Claws again being juggled around by Mentalist, making this hard breach effort a little bit more challenging for the likes of I9. Blue opened up though, so that's an eventual point of pressure. Again, without the Grim though, it makes the drop more precarious, and so the Cap Tower will likely play a role for this set play. Very stack for Fury, they might descend it. Surely not though. Have to burn the hero first, but that actually misses. Dark has a backup option though, so he'll be able to use that. Reap's posted up though in the perfect position behind that generator to try and counter this play is like Colas once again on the Monty, rotates over towards bot main. So it's a rather similar set play here from Fury, although this time there could be a greater emphasis on triple wall. Kitchen is in fact still reinforced and electrified, so the drop down kitchen hatch now, that win condition has been stripped away for Fury. And Moto as well, I mean, it's going to be a massive fight through blue, I think. Okay, no, this hatch will be opened up. Now Mentalist a bit late there on the juggle. So that unlocks this triple wall play now.
Ooh. Well, that Keeper variant's going to make it difficult to get back in through main. Oh, never mind. I think there was still a gap on the very back side of it. 30 seconds, not a lot of time. You want to be committing at this point anyway. Deals with the mirror window. Aggressive from like Cola. Still able to stay standing at 15 HP despite the pressure. Impact gets thrown out. Leader loses his battle against Crit J. Dark in through blue. Can he get the angle indeed found onto Reaps? That's a huge kill. Reaps has been the big reason why Bleed are winning these rounds. This time though, he's dead in the grave. Turd to stand up. Huge kill. Has to get another one. Does. 2 for Turd in a crucial moment. 6 seconds. Now Hoven falls to the floor. It's still down to Turdstar. He has to clutch this up. 2 more players standing. Not a lot of time. Nitrocell thrown out. There is no time for Fury. They couldn't get the kit down onto the floor. Turd. Clutch for Bleed.
Whew. Yeah, deep breaths for Turd, quite literally after that round, you can see in the player cam. Fury not having enough time to scrap together a plant there at the end.
Well,
it was
going back to the fact that when Iron9 stepped over the electrified hatch, I just wonder if they got caught off guard and they had no EMPs, no secondaries, and that meant they had to go fast with avenues that they could get what they could find. They knew they had to pick the pace up, and in some ways that probably worked for them, guys. They actually got a decent amount done. They were winning that round for all intents and purposes. I thought Fury had that, but credit to Blade, credit to Turd, they were able to just hold on.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get confirmation in the replay. I'm fairly certain it was Hoven who, despite getting taken down, was able to drop the kit in that fight over towards Church. Yeah, right here. Yep, diffuser down. Pretty risky Nitro, but Turd sort of has to go for it there, especially because the diffuser was unlikely spotted and couldn't take the risk that there was a plant behind the bar or black box. If he dies on the swing there, he's going to be really mad with himself, but had to go for it. He survives anyway, and then they win on time. So good composure there from Turd. Under a lot of pressure. Bleed now one step away from pushing OT, and that will really flip the narrative here on the open mount.
Well, at the end of the day, that's the first round that Fury have actually lost the round when getting the opening kill, because they've only had, well, 2 before that. So huge round win for Bleed. That was the first real round this particular match where I think Bleed were on the back foot well and truly through large portions of that round. Just came out the other side and able to survive through it. 5-6, this one seemingly headed for overtime. Unless Fury can close it here and now. I mean, dare I say, they've been in this position before, Guz, Fury. This is not their first rodeo where they've failed to close rounds out. Dare I bring back the grand final? I know this is not a grand final, it's a semi-final, but it's these 2 teams, and they won the opening map 7-5. Second map went to overtime. They had chances to close it out, and they could not, and subsequently missed out on the major. These are little moments, but they have big repercussions.
And confirmation as well. If Bleed are to push overtime in this matchup, as is expected, they will have defense in overtime, which will statistically hugely bolster their opportunity to salvage this first map and apply an absolute world of pressure onto Fury for the second map of Lair, one we have not seen Bleed play as of yet, and there is a VOD out there of Fury. But all focus here on round number 12, the final of regulation, and Some growing pains over towards Jacuzzi. The initial frag grenade through the drone hole, unsuccessful. It is just bandit batteries on that wall. But again, this attack finding it difficult to deal with this denial utility. They have to impact EMPs though, unlike the previous round. And so Con, well, is tricked. So Fury have honestly put themselves in a very position. What the problem though, at least Jacuzzi has been open.
I'd rather get Jacuzzi than the Con, and like Hollis is going to try and go fast here. Oh, they actually find 2 kills. Bleed there as Fury went for the swift entry. Yes, like Hollis did get one onto Mentalist, but you'll take the other 2. The Blitz dealt
Wait,
with.
Diffuser. Is Diffuser and Logi on the drop, or was that on the roof? Because that's going to be absolutely round defining.
Looks like it's on the roof.
Where is it?
No?
No, it is there.
Is it
is down.
stash? Yeah. Wait, how did it get there?
How do you win the round from here?
How did it even get there? How's it all the way into stash? That's incredible. Well, they did go fast. We saw off the Jacuzzi breach following up there as well with the logistics hatch drop, and the round is done. Really off the back of that, Fury went for an aggressive send, guys, off of very little. I9 surely can't clutch this one up though. Indeed, with Reaps close by, holding shotgun, able to just swing the doorway and send this one to overtime. That was honestly bizarre from Fury.
Wow.
So they don't
I hope we see that somewhere in the replay package, because I certainly did not pick up on that live. We had so much attention over towards Jacuzzi, and then Diffuser was dropped down Logi and got stranded.
Well, Conwall doesn't get opened up. That gets strict off that. Then they open Jacuzzi and go with the Montang and double drop Logistic at the same time. So it's essentially that just coordinated in-sync attack from Fury where we're going to go fast, and maybe they won't expect it. The problem is the 2 that went Logistic both died and had the kit, dropping it in stash. So even though I think it was like Colas actually got a kill in the Jacuzzi breach that we got to see, with the other 2 dying in logistics, that basically threw the round.
Yeah. Well, that was...
And Fury have thrown 3 opportunities to close this out now.
Well, hey, I said it before. There is no team that you can be 100% confident that you're going to beat, but especially Bleed. They will never go down without a fight. So... yeah, Diffuser, yeah, it got dropped right here over towards that Logi stash position. We might be able to see it in the background a little bit. So it was Crit J on that blitz. Was denied. And that Diffuser then in an unrecoverable position. So I like the game plan there from Fury. I think it's difficult to fault, the double shield rush. Just unfortunate. A rough day at the office for Crit J, certainly it must be said.
Yeah.
But yeah, it goes back to that storyline that I was pushing before. You have to keep your foot on the pedal 100% of the way against Bleed. They will sniff blood in the water. If you make mistakes, they will capitalize. And that has happened now for a couple of consecutive rounds. And that is why they've now pushed OT and they have defense. So just like that, the narrative flips. They are on the favored side. They are the favored team statistically, irrespective of the head-to-head, to now win this game.
Yeah, Reaps has put in an absolute shift, 15 and 7, with also 5 assists. And he's +3 on entry. For a 92% cost, a 150 EPS performance so far. The Reaps show admission, everyone. 6-6 overtime. As Bleed, as you said, double defense from here. Should be able to close things out. Fury will have to try and find some of that special sauce that they had at the beginning of the second half, because they have gone ice cold ever since.
Bit of early work over towards Jacuzzi here. I anticipate that we won't see quite the same level of aggression here from the attack. And just to reiterate, statistically, defense win percent here in Asia, Clubhouse, 62%. So that is what is stacked against Fury, but they do find the opening pick here. And that will bolster their opportunity to maybe subvert expectation.
Going on the repel from BG Man and Crit J, though. Another engagement that goes against him. While it's not the opening kill, not an opening engagement, it's still another 1v1 that he just can't win. Mirror dealt with by Lycolis. Under a minute remaining. Trying to just get some information, some vision that he can play off of. Sees the Maestro cam, of course, inside of Jim. Knows that that's going to be a thorn in their side as I9 just holding outside Jacuzzi. 4 versus 4. BG Man creeping towards main stairs. Lycolis has got decent position. Could allow that push up main. Default's still up.
I mean, Lycolis has cleared an absolute world of information here.
Yeah.
You can see how much he's been calling as well. They know, they have a really good read here. And it really just determines,
Ooh,
I mean,
that was
the
risky.
round's going to be determined by where they try and play it. I mean, he's just survived on 2 HP, but that's okay.
Oh, Hoven's on 5 HP though, but he does lose his life. Dark now outside on the swing. Reaps, here he comes out through Con. Still 2 HP on the Montank. Needs to get the kit down, but it's an EDD from Leader. The Capcan trap will deal with Lycolis, and the Maestro Cam will prove to be indeed a huge thorn, but can't turn away in time. Plan to go down. Will it be successful from I9 inside a Gym? BG Man gave his life for him to get the plant down, but they shoot through them both. And Bleed will get match point.
My god. Another nail-biting round, but it's Reaps again to clutch up for Bleed. The Reaps show continues. Massive push through Bedroom. Immediately responds after his Evil Eye is taken down. Had to win that fight. He loses that fight. The round is essentially over. Fury didn't make things easy for themselves there in that round. They scouted a lot of enemy info, but failed to correctly check those doorways, and the Capcan traps turning the tide. Lycolis was 2 HP here, 15 seconds to go, and then boom, hits another trap.
Yeah, wow.
Puts a lot of pressure on the remaining 2 attackers, and ultimately BG just couldn't cover. He was so low on HP, and Reaps been winning out that fight.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Fury will be kicking themselves, guys. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, and these are the kind of matches where it can affect you mentally going into the rest of the series. I9 has been tremendous. 14-9. But he can't compete against Reaps right now. He needs help desperately. 7-6 in favor of Bleed, and for the first time on Clubhouse, they've got themselves map point.
Loading new map.
Fury had 3 opportunities in regulation to close this one out, get themselves Bleed's map. Bleed, though, have stormed back. And they have been able to win 4 rounds in a row to give themselves the advantage. Straight to basement for Fury. Which, I'm going to be honest, you know, harping back to that first half, I actually think almost Fury played a little bit better in their attacking rounds that they won, as they try to get aggressive here like Colas and Reaps. Boy, you would love to get a kill into Reaps early. But there were certainly moments in that first half. Fury were very, very fortunate to get some rounds. They're going to have to play a lot better here on this basement to get this to a 15th round.
Yeah, they won basement on both defense efforts, and oddly enough, they actually lost the entry on both of those occasions as well. So
They've never gotten an opening kill on defense this game.
no, they haven't. So we'll see how this round plays out. They vacate any kind of roam. All 5 defenders are now on basement. And we see a big deviation here from Bleed. They are electing not to bring the Osa this time around. So suggesting that we'll see a more, I suppose, in a way, default push. Probably a combination of kitchen drop blue and dirt, if I had to guess. But that play may deviate depending on what hatches they are able to open up. Fight over towards kitchen on the vert. Aggressive PG man, but survives. So control now for Bleed. I'll open up these hatches, assess, and then to go for an execute over the next minute or so. There is also the opportunity for maybe a push into triple wall. There is range hard breach available for Mentalist, and he's bot main. I do trust Bleed to identify the best win con here, but I still have to get a bit more work done on the checklist.
We've got a little bit of time still with a minute remaining on the clock. Right over towards Secret, one in towards Blue, getting some information here from Hoven. Mentalist down towards bot main. Salma to open up triple. And that has been well and truly opened up. No longer able to play behind that one. Dark will move over deeper into Church as Turd just watching Moto. We should be watching Reaps though. 18-7. We'll get a 20 bomb here in a semi-final match. Obviously with the task of clearing out the kitchen floorboards. Not a lot of time remaining here. 25 seconds as Reaps will hold position inside of kitchen. At some point may be electing to drop down. We'll see. Oil Pit move now through blue for the leader. Flash is coming out from multiple members of Bleed. Like calls to hold strong in the back of Arsenal with the Kiba barriers. Turd though finds a double kill on his particular entry. Leader also doubling on down. Like Colas feeling like he has to get moving now. They'll get to go down from Mentalist, pushing in towards blue. It's like Colas, he too cannot win, and they will falter. In the end, it's a 3K from Turdstar. Bleed will take the opening map here of this semi-final matchup. They come from deeply behind at 6-3 in favor of Fury. They then win the next 5 rounds and close it out 8-6.
Yeah, a lot of pressure in that match on Bleed, but they rise to the occasion. And so for Fury, it's about a quick turnaround here and showing us what they've got on Lair.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, this was a map we didn't really give Fury much of a chance, guys. And had they lost this 7-3, 7-4, we'd be sitting back saying, hey, it doesn't really matter all that much. They've got Lair to go to after this. Reset, rebound. But the way in which that they lost this particular map, it could have some mental scars as we go back over to the desk.
Wow, what a comeback from Bleed. I mean, you can see the excitement there from Fury, but that can only take you so far. I mean, really, Pengu, that's probably the clear difference between the two teams is the energy that you see from Fury versus the ruthlessness that you see from Bleed in those last 4 rounds. Like, absolutely critical to push that to overtime.
There's so much happening in this game. Anything from the Bleed make a mistake in the map veto, Ego challenging on Clubhouse, to no shield bans happening, to Fury looking like the better team. I'm not sure if Bleed, they're thinking, it's gonna be easy. Fury, they played so poor throughout the season, we can just kind of breeze through this. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's so funny, isn't it, Dev? Because we started talking, I'm just looking back, we started talking 23 minutes ago about how we were going to turn this conversation into, like, into the Fury positive and potentially into, maybe flaming Bleed a little. But how quickly, 20 minutes is all it took to change that storyline.
Yeah, it goes to show that Bleed, you can count them out, but you can never truly put them down. Like, they will come back, and they are fully capable of flipping things on their head. And yeah, 6-3 down. Fury not only had a really solid defense, they got 4 out of the 6, which is better than what we saw when these guys played Clubhouse in the regular season. There was a 3-3 half on Fury's defense. But then coming into their attack, they win their first, they drop their second, but then they win their third attack and get match point, right? Like, that is such a fiery start for Fury. We saw I9 popping off massively, especially on that basement round where he got that first attack round win. And we saw Fury just looking back to their old selves, looking like a serious competitor. And then in those last couple of rounds, Bleed really turned it around, and it came down to some tiny, minuscule moments. I think back to that gym defense from Bleed with that retake. Like, they realistically probably should have lost that round, but like Colas on the Monty walking into too many Capcan traps, and the plant denial from Reaps as well. Where to even begin here for Bleed? I mean, an insane game. And you want to talk about highlight players? Reaps. Nobody could touch him in this match. I mean, almost hitting the 20 kills by the end of it. He played his role, and he clutched up when he was needed.
And you know what? Shout out to Turd. For all the crap we've talked on him, he has stood up in a very important match. Reaps, granted, Reaps is Reaps, right? We almost expect him to be able to pick up that slack if someone else can't do the job, like Hoven, for example, who's had a quite a day. But, I mean, Turd has stood up 13 and 8. He went 3 and 1 on entries. For me, that's a player who has put a lot on the line this stage and has had a lot of pressure on his shoulders, and he stood up in the most critical match. I mean, Pengu, am I blind in saying that this would be their most critical map they've played so far?
I mean, it certainly is the most critical map so far, right? It goes to overtime, it's very close, they're playing from the back foot from very early on. Turd, I think, this stage right now has been a little bit inconsistent, especially in the first half, but I think more than anything else, he is a defender-sided player in my mind. On attack, he's often pretty invisible, maybe not needed, maybe doesn't show up, regardless. But when he gets to play comfort operators on the defensive side, he can be like anchor, just extend and hold a portion of the map. That's when he shines on the server time and time again.
Wow, look at the difference, Dev. Look at the difference. Like, multi-kills aside, sure, that's huge. You've doubled it. For me, it's the traded kills. That is a massive defining moment in these games.
Yeah, absolutely. And another big one is opening
crazy.
kills as well. In particular, Critche really struggled in this match for opening kills. It was the opening death 5 times, and particularly on their defense. I'm impressed that Fury managed to win as many defense rounds as they did, because every single defense round, they actually started from a 4 versus 5. And Critche, 4 rounds in a row, dying early in a roaming role is a bit concerning. Some of those rounds he managed to waste a little bit more time than others, but overall, a strangely a quiet game from who has statistically been the best player in our league for this whole stage long. So yeah, if Critche won a couple of more 1v1s, I think that this might have actually been a different story. I think particularly to the last round of Fury's attacking half, when we moved into overtime, on that gym attack, like, in the late round, we had Critche downstairs, and I just don't know how he lost his 1 versus 1 on the player flanking. Like, he fulfilled his role to perfection, and yet Bleed were able to push it into OT. So, I mean, great showing for Fury compared to perhaps what we expected. Perhaps we had thought, okay, Fury would be out for the count considering how poor form they were in the stage. But I was optimistic. I think we got a good Fury today, and we still have more to play, especially considering that that was Bleed's map pick. But I think that it's going to be hard not to kick yourself if you're Fury, because you had 3 match points in that game to close it out and steal Bleed's map.
Pengu, it's quite simple, you know, pressure makes diamonds, but it also crushes some players. And I mean, we move on to Lair now. You just dropped the last 5 rounds on map point consistent. Close rounds as well. It's not like they were throws or anything like that. Very close rounds. How do you reset going to a map like Lair as well?
Well, thankfully, Lair and Clubhouse, they play out very differently. Notably because Clubhouse has been over-figured out. You know, most teams do the similar thing. Lair is up to how you want to approach things from the get-go. There's no defined metagame. If you can kind of reset and just establish what they want to accomplish in their rounds and what is going to work for them, I think they'll be okay. I saw on the attacking side of Clubhouse, they kept picking the double shield combo, the Blitz Monty, and I think they were overcooking it. I think they needed that gunfight. When we saw I9 popping off on the entries, when we saw they had the firepower to follow up on the entries with the shields, that's when things went well. When you play double shield, you don't have enough firepower. So assess what's working for you and go with that path.
All right, well, it's scary now. Fury stage, it's on the line. They have to bounce back. We go to Lair after this short break.
Well, we continue on. Semi-final number 2, Bleed, with a wonderful comeback in the end, considering where they were at 1.9 rounds through. Guz 6-3 in favor of Fury. I honestly felt like, as great as Bleed are, this might be where they just stumble a little bit on the opening map. I wasn't ready to concede the entire series, but on Clubhouse, it was looking like a bit of a foregone conclusion. To their credit, though, and to no one's surprise, they bring it back. What does that now mean for Fury coming into Lair? Must win, and must also just sort of mentally forget about what they've kind of let go on Clubhouse. A 6-3 lead, multiple opportunities to close out. They can't. You've got to just mentally reset now.
Yeah, Lair is an interesting curveball in this particular series. It is Fury's map pick. We've also seen them play it previously against Knock Knock, a 7-3 victory, and Crit J the MVP for that particular match. I'm trying to cast my mind back. It's a little bit foggy at this point, but I do believe it played out in a rather default/ranked-ish meta that I don't know if it'll hold up against Bleed. But again, that's the curveball. That's the unknown. Bleed have been willingly admitting publicly that they are happy to play this map, and finally it has slipped through a veto. So it's an opportunity for them to prove what they've been able to cook up on this map. But again, with their support staff and structure and experience and Mentalist at the helm, I believe that they will have some interesting things to show on this particular map. But equally, if you want to look at it from a Fury perspective, maybe Bleed are overly optimistic on this map, and maybe it's going to be a bit of a disaster, and then that gives them an opportunity back into this series on the decider. So again, we're going a little bit into the unknown, but I can say for certain that it will be a top 4 defense here from Bleed, who will be looking to get off to a good start. Bans have played out somewhat as expected. We see 3 primary bans that are pretty anticipated in this particular meta. We finally see a shield taken out to the Monty, and then followed up by Velk and Ying. Scopos is an interesting target ban. I can only assume that he's onto Crit J, who does play quite a bit of Scopos, and I believe he also mained it on that particular last matchup that Fury played, and it was quite impactful. You think about the size and scale of this map, it really lends itself nicely to Scopos. So that won't see any play, and then that might apply a bit more pressure onto Crit J defensively, who's already having a bit of a rough day at the office. In terms of this first round, though, we see the Maestro was selected and hidden by Mentalist. And so we'll see if that does prove costly. In terms of composition, though, it hasn't really, because both the Brava and the Twitch are on the board to counter it.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
Well, it's hard to imagine that Bleed, as a team that they are, that they would not have done their due diligence on Lair, and that they've likely had many a workshop spent on this particular map. Also, just their raw skill. Raw skill on a new map, I think, always does kind of lead to the forefront. Defense first as well to begin, and after such a turbulent Clubhouse, maybe defense is where they'd like to be. Just allow Fury to kind of do their thing. So Glaz, Amos, Grim, Sens, and a very, sorry, not Sens, Brava, very intriguing lineup right now from Fury for this opening round. Second map. Those just tuning in, of course, the signing map would be Border if we get there, but otherwise it's shaping up for Bleed to join Elevate in the grand final, which will be tomorrow.
Hoven the first to fall. Tell you what, this may end up being a strange game where the 2 biggest hitters are shut down by the opposition. This trend is to continue. But Fury with the advantage, and going into this this second map, they are off the back of a big losing streak. Bleed have won the last 5 rounds, so if they can kickstart some attacking momentum here, which is especially hard on a new map in the pool, that's going to be massive for Fury. So let's see if they can convert this advantage. The Twitch getting some great value onto those mirror windows, and so far everything going right here. Deimos lurk down below as well for Dark. Has a couple of options available, including the Cav. Oh, not the Cav. I don't know why I said Cav, but certainly the mirror. And could disrupt that from down below. But Mentalist is able to respond with one of his own and escape.
Deathmark was tracking Leader. Jay making his entry in through bathroom as Mentalist will find a second kill. has the Maestro camps as well to deal with. Don't know where Crit J was going there on the glass, but he runs right into Leader. Lycolis will also lose his battle, and Fury just collapsed in these 1v1s. Really across the top floor, they've not been able to win any of their engagements until just then from Dark. Dark, the only one to be able to get a kill in this round for Fury. He's got 2, but no more, as Turd will shut him out. Bleed will take the opening round in the end with pretty little affair. I mean, Fury got the opening kill, but it never, at any point, did I feel like Bleed were under pressure.
Yeah, you're not going to get too many opportunities, especially on primary sites, to get that opening pick as the attack on a new map in the pool, which naturally trends more towards defense. You're not going to get many of those opportunities. So when they arise, Fury need to convert. Just couldn't really get their teeth into that attack though. We saw a delayed trade for Mentalist, who was then able to retreat. And even with other good groundwork in the utility game as well, and the work potential from the Deimos, just didn't quite connect. Bleed played really tight to one another. It's one of their strengths. And Fury just couldn't cut it down.
Yeah, as is the case with Lair though, top floor down into basement. We head over to lab now for the second round. Clearly Bleed having done their homework, and they send Turd on the Vigil. 2-0 for him, and so far having a pretty decent series as a whole, guys. He has really been neck and neck with Reaps, both in entries and KDs. The only caveat to that though is his overall cost is quite low in comparison, but he has so far had a very good 2 maps. And it's only 1 round into the second map, but a good start nonetheless, as we see Lycolis on to the Blitz. No Montang available in this particular match. No Scopos either. Jackal for Dark, I like that. Helps with the clearing up above. In anticipation of roam game from Bleed. Especially Turd stuff. Top floor. Along with Reaps. So 2 players to try and find on the roam. Reaps hasn't quite been thrown just yet. That's a very intriguing Vulcan canister placement by Reaps. So playing off of his own utility rather than opting to use that Vulcan canister on site and leaving it as a resource for the defenders on site, he's using it himself.
I mean, you can use it as a fall-off. It may also be in anticipation for a blitz rush, right? You can just pop it and get out of there. You don't want to take the 1v1. I'm just spitballing there. There could be another reason, but... There is the Jackal there currently over towards Ops, so Dark is trying to, you know, clear. Does have the scan onto Reaps. And you can actually see, wow, yeah, the Vulcan kind of stalled him out, so he went for an alternate line of sight, and he baits him perfectly into that pick. Reaps is having a really good night.
Yep. Oh, this is another rather awkward attack from Fury, where they just don't really have a lot of pressure on Bleed. Haven't cleared Reaps up above, and at this point now they're starting to turn their attention towards site. Still haven't even found Turd either, by the way, on this first floor. Vigil lurking over towards Bunk, and if they're not wary of this, I mean, there is absolutely world for hurt coming Fury's way.
Yeah, 25 seconds. Bleed just looking to sustain this pressure. Horizontally though, Hoven just absolutely sends it. And so too does Reaps. Big over-aggress from Bleed, and it could prove costly.
Kill for BG Man. Mentalist again strong though on site. He goes to 3 kills so far in the opening 2 rounds. Not a lot of time remaining, but they are up a player now for Fury. Certainly a very winnable moment for them when it looked like it was not going so well. Double stack, double red ping. Great information for Hoven. Doesn't really get the kill. Doesn't even get the down. And then the close angle, a quad from BG Man is confirmed. Down to just Mentalist. But as he pushes forward, he is met with strong fire back from Fury. And they will take the second round.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty bold decision there through the mid-round for Bleed to go for that aggress horizontally up above. They had the read that there was a lot of vert being established there by Fury, so I suppose the playmaking decision being, well, hey guys, let's just try to catch them off guard and we can pretty easily secure the round. Unfortunately for them though, some awkward timing, a bit of maybe a potential indecision. Just had that small window of opportunity then for Fury to buy it back, and they got both kills up above. There's good work in the early round from Reaps, but yeah, this play here, just stack from Turd and then the follow-up from Reaps. Pretty ill-advised. And even after being able to down like Hollis on that blitz, they still couldn't sustain the pressure there. Massive round from Fury, and BG Man, Crit J as well with the confidence builder to cap off the round. So Fury able to collect one of the first 2 primary objectives.
10 seconds to
Yeah, it's kind of crazy as to where that all fell apart for Bleed. Great opening kill from Reaps. Thought the roam game was pretty good between he and Turd, and Fury just able to hit some really good shots and make something out of nothing, which is what they've probably needed for a little while now. As this series has continued, it does feel like they've just petered out, but that's certainly a big round. Maybe renew some hope for their fans. So far it's been I9 throughout Clubhouse, but now coming into Lair. Great start for BG Man to get 4 kills in that round.
Mine primed.
So crucial that it's not just, you know, I9, and arguably they really do need Crit J to get going. 7-11 overall between the 2 maps, so he needs to find a way to start making an impact. Nice little drone as well. And towards bunks here for Lycolis, as they will open that up.
Starting shock drone.
Yeah, intrigued to see how they structure this attack around the sense with the absence of Glaz. Typically you would see them in combination. Plant is going down though inside of smoke.
Looks like it's going to get converted as well. Lycolis successfully will get that diffuser down. Reaps does get a kill on to Dark after he was downed and now finished off subsequently. But this is going to be a very difficult post-plant for Bleed. And suddenly from so much time in the round to very little time in the round, the RU shield screen is up. I9 with another kill and again has impact in this series. Mental is just trying to see if he can get some information, gets rid of the drone, hit close by, but he has to kill the players outside here on the breach. This has all been too easy for Fury in this round. Mentalist can't really offer a whole lot. He's lost everyone else as well, despite the fact that he got that kill on to Crit J. The rest of his team falls apart. Yellow ping information with the pistol out. No time remaining. Fury will find a second round. And with the way that Lair has begun, there is every world in which the third map could be required. Long way to go, guys, but early signs here on Lair, with 2 attacking rounds from Fury, suggest they're in a good position here on this map.
Yeah, it's a good start in the first rotation. I wouldn't be reading too much into the tertiary. I am of the pretty firm belief that both are rather difficult to defend, but it was still clean from Fury. They find an opportunistic plant window, commit to it, and then nobody overpeaks in the post, and so it means that the retake was impossible. So credit to Fury, they were able to play that really well in the end. And that's back-to-back rounds from them that have looked quite clean. Does mean though that we had now top floor once again.
Attackers have discovered the location of
Last time out, Fury in the late round fell apart a little bit. We do see a different composition again here from Bleed on this particular objective. Last time out we saw the Maestro. This time around though, that will no longer be the case. So quite a bit of a switch up, and the tank interestingly also will be in play. So I'm actually pretty eager to keep a close eye on Turd throughout this round as to what position he'll be looking to play and stall out, whether that's ops or maybe he'll play R6 room because that has a couple of more different options available in terms of denying entry. Either way though, expect this round to play out a little bit differently to last time out, where again they leaned heavily into the Maestro and looked to try and play around that and the smoke as well. They don't have those tools this time around though.
Yeah, it's been an awful series so far for Hoven, guys. 7-13, -6 KD. Has so far not been able to get off the board here on Lair through the first couple of rounds. Fury looking control. Doing a better job as well in these opening engagements. 2 from 3 in their favor to begin here on Lair after they were really uncompetitive in that aspect over on Clubhouse. Imagine this is just going to be a bunker down on site for Bleed and hope for the best. They, I think, corralled in. The roam game has been ineffective so far on other sites. This, of course, Master R6, one of the sites in which you can play a little bit more bunkered down, but it was a fast hit from Fury last round. They're not going to allow it this time. It does mean, though, Fury are kind of dictating what Bleed are doing. Bleed want to play off-site, we'll hit it fast. Bleed want to play on-site, we'll get map control. And the Fury playing this well so far.
Mental's looking to try and find Nitro outside breach, but it doesn't land. His defense is in a couple of precarious positions. Now, there is a lurk below from Reaps, and he has Nitro, so he could be in a position to deny an eventual plant attempt here from Fury, so keep a close eye on him. Nitro also available for Hoven. Fury with great horizontal pressure and presence, and they will push forward like Coles first. Dark, though, unable to hit the follow-up. 4 versus 3.
Oh, big Nitrocell. Hoven does get himself on the board. Started 0-3, now 2-3, and 2 big kills.
Reload.
Lead with a slight advantage from here. Down to I9 and BG Man. Still plenty of time to try and make things happen, though, for Fury on the attack. Little drone from BG Man. Can't play off of it. Still finds himself outside as well, over towards the courtyard. Reaps just momentarily kept at bay by these track stingers, but he finds a good position, and Turd gets a big kill onto I9. That diffuser out of reach. The BG Man, and this round as well, out of reach for Fury, as Bleed will be able to bite back, taking top floor for the second time in this half. A little bit of a stat pad moment here for BG Man, but also for Turd as they trade 1 for 1. And Bleed will keep the scoreboard ticking over, 2-2.
Yeah, the Nitro Cell pressure and the reposition from Reaps was pretty impactful in that round, installing out that push. It also took the hard breach off the board, the ace. I didn't spot if he had any summers left, but if he did, it then made the entire attack pattern of planting on that wall on the other side of Ops, yeah, much more difficult in towards that Master Office position. So, yeah, good work from Bleed. That site looking pretty sound. They need to now double down on this next primary objective. Lab and lab support down in the basement. Last time out, we saw a relatively stalemate round, really, and Fury just smoking vert, seeing if they could collect anything, and then seemingly out of nowhere, Bleed with a massive re-aggress horizontally on that first floor to contest, and it fell apart. The rest of the team then under a lot of pressure and capitulating on site. So we'll see what Bleed opt for this time around. They will persist with the vigils, so expect a lurk presence. Question will be, do they double down like they did last time?
5 seconds left before insertion. Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Yeah, it's hard to get a full read, really, here on Lair. The second time all stage that we've seen it here in Asia. The way that Fury have been playing it so far does lead to believe that they've clearly got a really good idea as to what they want to kind of do on this map, but Bleed, I just think their raw skill is kind of getting them over the line at the moment in these 2 round wins. This one does feel like it's certainly far more competitive. The Clubhouse was, of course, ultra competitive, going all the way to overtime, but it just felt like it was the kind of game in which Bleed could have played so much better, and it eventually did. And when they did play better, they won 5 in a row, and I felt like it took the competitive sting out of it. This one, though, back and forth for now. Dark. Oh, what a shot from Reaps. Watching from the POV of Dark, it felt like he was in best position to maybe find that opening kill, but Reaps just swings around the corner. Pops the head, gets the kill. And another opening kill for Bleed. And puts Fury on the back foot early in this 5th round. So
Hatch looking to be opened up here by the attack, made a little bit difficult though with the Kaid on the board, and I don't think that Habanichik was successful from BG Man, although we'll get confirmation of that later on as they try to confirm it. Default camera is a bit of a hot talking point in this map as well. There's so many available, and so attacking teams need to make sure that they clear them. Clearly, Crit J conscious of that. Hatch now to be opened up in a moment. If this one is to hit the Kaid claw, again, unsuccessful. Bit of a util burn, but really, namely the time burn as well here. Surely this third X-Kairos will land. There is also Reap still up above, but that one too also not landing, and BGMN may have to completely forfeit Hatch. Oh no, this is a disaster. Oh! What is going on?
Not a lot of time remaining to try and salvage things. 50 seconds. Colas is trying to see if he can tap ahead and try and find an entry with these dry peaks. I9 loses his life elsewhere. Lycoris does have the diffuser, and that's a great shot from Leader. There really wasn't much in that attack there at the end from Fury. They ran out of options and chances and opportunities squandered as that ends up being a dismal round from Fury. All too easy for Bleed, and they take the lead once again.
It was a similar commit there from Bleed in terms of the re-aggression mid-round. That time, though, was just slightly better timed. We also saw far more teething issues from Fury. That hatch was proving to be very difficult to open up. You saw BG Men there desperately trying to trick the Electro Claw off the hatch by using those X-Kairos, and every angle that he attempted just didn't land. So good claw position there. If anyone wants to learn that claw position, go into the replay file and find it, because proving to be a bit of a nuisance to deal with. Either way, though, tertiary site now to some extent make or break the half here from Bleed after forfeiting their other primary attempt on basement. They have now just complicated things a little bit, reliant on a tertiary victory here to retain a 4-2 lead.
I'd imagine, though, that Lair's going to play out slightly in favour to the defense here, so Bleed get a fourth here. It's not the end of the world for Fury.
5 seconds to go.
Just have to remember what's at stake, though. Well, it is only a semi-final and not quite the grand final that these two teams usually meet in. You lose this map, and you cannot go to the major for Fury's sake. We can afford to lose this, and we can go to border to scrap one more time, but I mean, Bleed, they can be quite ruthless. And will not give up any easy rounds here.
Deploying shield.
It's such a big map, though. These rounds feel like they've been quite slow. Slow burn. Little push forwards here or there. Poking and prodding from Fury. We haven't really seen, I feel like, Bleed get so exuberant on the defense either, guys. You know, a lot of site holding and a lot of just very defensive-minded rounds from them outside of one here or there. You know, think back second round Lab where they went for the top floor extension. Well, they did get the opening kill from said extension, it then did fall apart on site. So they kind of kept, I feel like, themselves a little closer to site now for the remainder of this half, and it has started to work. Winning both of the primaries. Of course, this will be the first time that we don't actually go to the primary sites. Will it offer a point of difference, maybe in favor for Fury to find a third attacking round? We'll see.
I'm hearing sense balls deployed, cutting off that lobby stairs position. Maybe Crit J looking to get inside of bathroom here. Does have to keep in mind that there is a warden in play. I9 falls, so logic bombs raining out.
What? Wow. How does Crit J get that kill? Barely, of course. 36 HP, almost lost his life, but he does find an important one. And almost, indeed, losing his life, but down to 2 HP for Reap. So, some wounded soldiers inside of the battlefield at the moment. Shot through the window. Crit J wins another fight. Essentially walking on one leg at the moment on 17 HP and eventually put down onto the floor by Turdstar, who goes to 5 kills. Down to 2 remaining. That had to be a win for BG, man. And Turd is just better. He has really stood up in this semi-final. Like, Cole is the only one remaining inside of the 6th round for Fury. A big kill on to leader. 2 to go. And he has time and he has the kit. As he focuses in. Flash. 2 more remaining. As he gets rid of the bulletproof camera. 20 seconds. Turd. I think already 3 kills in this round. He has been so influential. To the credit of both Turd and Mentalist, no one moving an inch, no one giving Light Colas anything to shoot at. Doesn't spot Mentalist. Mentalist will turn around and spot him though. 4-2, Bleed will take a 2-round lead to close the first half.
Really strong defense above there from Bleed. Fury not really playing an effective trade game. A lot of those fights were super isolated, rather unfavorable. And so Bleed, the expected result, winning out the majority of them. Kritche there was able to find 1 and then probably a little bit fortunate to find the 2nd. But now the trade game here in the 3 versus 3 quite lacking. Like Colas isolated other side of the map. They didn't get really any hard breach done on the site either to force pressure back towards the objective. It was very consolidated over towards the top floor. So for Bleed, that's a pretty big win. They forfeit 1 primary site in the half, but they make up for it with a successful defense over towards Punk and Briefing. Now the dynamic shifts. What have Bleed got in store for the attack?
Well, it feels like they could set the precedent early here, Bleed. Very easily to have that mental mindset where things just aren't going our way. Bleed go up 5-2. Fury, do they drop their heads a little bit? They'll likely call attack timeout. Has it all gone wrong? I mean, I9 was so great on Clubhouse, but struggling to get involved here on Lair. Kritche did break his entry issues at least a little bit so far here on Lair. 1-0 for him. Slight improvement. After going, I think, 1-5 back on Clubhouse. And he has had more impact inside of the server. Onto defense now. 1 to keep an eye on. Only 6 kills, but he is leading the way tied. BG, man. So, 4-2. Lead onto the attack, and we'll see what they're cooking up. They bring the Blitz. They bring the Grim. Certainly can get some aggression and try and hit the site fast. Trying to overwhelm Fury, who for the most part should be just pretty much playing inside, except for Dark. Keep in mind over towards security, 1st floor, so is playing below. Rear window looking to get opened up. And there is that contact from Dark as he's made his way over. Mentalist in the 1v1. Oh, beautiful play from Mentalist as Dark goes for the cross. Mentalist swings out, gets the shot in the back. Bleed will get themselves a player advantage. Double down from Turd on the blitz. He pulls out the pistol. Gets the kill onto Light Colas. Deals with the mirror. Crit J2 will fall. Trying to maybe seek a kill back to just stem the tide. But instead he makes it worse. And the tide will turn into a tsunami. 5 versus 2 as Bleed take an overwhelming lead here in this 7th round. And should be able to find a 5th round here on Lair. And put themselves 2 away from a grand final.
Yeah, this is a ruthless attack from Bleed. They have not given Fury an inch in this particular round. It should be flawless. Is a trade though. BG man all alone to try and clutch up, but there's absolutely nothing that he can do. And Bleed have absolutely wiped the floor there on that opening attack. For context, 2nd floor globally on Lair currently sits at a 63% defensive win rate, by far and away the strongest site on the map.
Yeah, I mean, that's a damning round if you're Fury. That could be where the damn wall breaks. Well and truly. Just losing far too many engagements there. Credit to Bleed, though. Yeah, really succinct plan. Her doing a good job on the blitz, both with shield and with pistol. You can go 7 up. And, you know, the The thing about this as well, guys, is actually the consistency factor, if we want to kind of bring up that word, because for Turd and Reeves, they've been able to continue all their good work from Clubhouse now over to Lair. Very similar stats actually between them. So those two have been putting in the work on the offensive front. Bleed bearing that fruit. For Fury, though, well, now they've got themselves into a big hole. Down a map, down multiple rounds. Bleed not that far away from converting this semi-final into a win. 2 more rounds required as we head over to Lab.
So the demos brought here as well for round 8. In combination with Ram and Sledge, there's going to be a heavy emphasis on bombarding this defense from above. In anticipation, we see Fury set up on the roam. There's only 2 players down below on site, majority above! But now it's even off the back of that opening death. Dark falls and Reaps continues this run of form. Now up to 8 kills here on Lair. And I believe that takes his series total to somewhere in the realm of 25-ish kills? At least 23 heading into this round, so I suppose 24.
Yeah, rough for Dark. It's been, what, 12-21 now on the KD, -9, -2 on the entry, 48% cost. It's been a series to forget. He can't lose hope. The 1v1 with the Deimos now. Crit J, well, he too probably a series to forget for the standards that we put on him. The death marker active. He needed to be a little bit more wary though of the Deimos. Instead, he was expecting, I think, someone to play off of the Deimos, to play off of that pressure of the death mark, and watching the other doorway. And in the end, it's just a far too easy swing there for Leader. Crit J to fall like that, guys. 5 versus 3. And this 8th round, somewhat similar to the previous one, where it's just all one-way traffic.
And again, another fight on the roam goes the way of Bleed. Doesn't feel like primary sites for the defense at the moment. Bleed marching their way forward towards series point. It feels like it's come about in a flash. Clubhouse went on forever, it felt like, whereas here on Lair, it's been a rather snappy affair. BG man, like Hollis, pressure mounting. We'll see if they can clutch up.
Mark onto Lycolis. Does have a nitro. He needs to find 5 kills inside the next 40 seconds, and not a singular one found, as it's a flawless round for Bleed, and they secure themselves match and series point. And Fury know, at this point, guys, you just know this one's done. And there's not much that can be done. Your time for this year is coming to an end. They call the timeout. But admittedly, internally, you must be just thinking it, right? Surely at this point, you're just like, well, they're that good. They are that good. We had chances. Clubhouse, they probably should have won it. Arguably should have won it. The Lair has been all Bleed.
Yeah, they definitely weren't lying when they said they're comfortable to play Lair. They have brought some pretty interesting ideas and compositions, and certainly taken their opportunity to show that off tonight. For Fury, it is about just trying to keep their chin up, but I think even the best of the best would find it very difficult to fight back from this position. Especially after map 1. I feel like map 1 is what hurts more.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a Fury map pick, but being so close to remaining competitive in this series, and then it's just kind of petered out like this, is probably an analogy for Fury's stage, to be honest. They haven't played to their best. When you average that out across every match this stage, this has probably been one of their better games, but still, because they've been fighting not only from behind because Bleed is so good, but even further behind because they've backtracked. It's been a case of about 3 steps forward and maybe 3 steps back rather, and 2 steps forward tonight, and that's just not going to be enough to catch Bleed.
He's just having a look about some of the statistics from Clubhouse as a comparison point. 19 kills for Reaps back on Club. He's got 8 here, guys, so he's nearing on 30 across the 2 maps. which is quite staggering.
Attackers objective.
Kurd had double
is to
digits
defuse
as
the
well,
bomb.
10 back on club. He has got 8 here, so he's been incredibly influential. I mean, at the end of the day, Bleed, they're the champs for the reason that we're seeing right now. They're just so dominant locally, ruthless. They don't really make mistakes. And that's probably what made Clubhouse so surprising for large portions of it, was that you're just sitting there like, we know Bleed can play better than this. And they did. They played better. 5 rounds in a row, closed it out. And here on Lair, it has been just about non-competitive.
Yeah, a bit of a rough day at the office for Crit J as well. Again, finding himself on a negative score, 7. Successful hard breach from Bleed to open up the round as well, so pressure will begin to mount. Good drone work from Bleed will allow Hoven to place a death mark on any one of the 5 defenders as he wishes. It's definitely a good position to find himself in, as they slowly but surely close this objective. Turd's been able to clear the bridge. The Buck is now down below, can offer pressure. The pings on site. Set up here from Bleed looking really calculated.
Drone up and running. Drone light.
Yeah, these rounds have been just so awfully slow as well. I don't know if that's a testament to the map itself. Oh, Leader just spots one through the window as he has the Kawhi Hive launcher in hand. Getting rid of those canisters though, only one left remaining. Cole is losing the battle from below. Too good on the Buck for Mentalist. Maybe expecting reinforcements to arrive, but no, they're all top floor. Another opening kill for Bleed. It's been the standout demise of Fury as well in this entire series. They just can't win these engagements. Bavaria just temporarily blocking entry. Umine stepped on. Dark does get an important kill. Needed that one onto Turd. He will fall on the blitz, and suddenly 35 seconds and Bleed. He has to get the player advantage, but no more shield to put them in.
Deimos now activated over towards Bathroom. Hoven in an awkward engagement. If he wins this down, it's all round confirmed. Takes a hit, actually taken down, 2v2.
15 seconds, still time to try and keep this semi-final alive for Fury. Swing to push through, you know, he's coming through that doorway. I9 tried to make contact first. Flashes go out right now by Mentalist. Leader, what a drive-by. 4 HP though, no time. Where's the diffuser? It's not in hand. Mentalist gets the kill anyway. Bleed will close it out on Lair. Easy as it's done. 7-2, semi-final number 2 in the books. And really, not even smiles, not even celebrations for Bleed. It's just work done for the day. A hard day's work. And they have booked themselves a place into yet another Asia League Grand Final.
Certainly unsettling scenes, it must be said, for Elevate, who obviously go into that game expecting a tough opposition. But I think the resistance and the perseverance shown by Bleed, especially during Map 1 and then just flowing that into Map 2, is really something that's going to be very difficult for them to contend with.
I mean, that was a really, really good performance from Bleed in the end. 7-2, incredibly dominant performance from their perspective for Fury. Very disappointing. I think that they've got some work to do over the off-season. Of course, you know, third place match or whatever for them, but I think they've got themselves behind the 8 ball now. At one point previously, it used to be a case of both of these two teams around the same mark. There's clearly a gap. There's clearly a divide. There's clearly work to do. Back over to the desk, though, as they break down this semi-final.
Thank you very much for that, gentlemen. Unfortunately, the story ends here for Fury. You know, it looked really solid, really competitive in the first map, but I think the most damning statistic here, Dev, is the fact that of the last 14 rounds, only 2 were won by Fury.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, Bleed won their last 5 rounds in a row to make a comeback happen on Clubhouse, and then they run the last 6 in a row here on Lair after Fury just found 2 attacks after the first defense won by Bleed. So, yeah, not great. The map and the series was well in control of Bleed. from quite some time ago, about an hour and a half ago, in fact, which is a huge disappointment to Fury. Let's be honest, though, they did exceed our expectations. I think most people assumed that Bleed were likely to win this in 2 maps in regulation on both. But Clubhouse really showed that Fury do still have it in them. Clearly there's something going on behind the scenes. I'm not really sure what's going on there. And I think the only way we'll get answers is by talking to Fury, which I feel tempted to go and reach out and hopefully get a little bit of a peek behind the scenes. But regardless of that, I mean, Bleed are looking potentially the best that they have ever been. We've finally seen Lair out of them now as well. So, yeah, very exciting for them going into that grand final.
Pengu, what's your thoughts on Dev saying that the Bleed are looking the best that they potentially ever have? I saw a little head to the side, little purse lipped. What do you think?
I think you gotta question it. I think it's so hard to judge a team like Bleed, who is so used to international competition and practice, and then look at them domestically in Asia and go, oh, they're the best they've ever been. Because we've also said that this matchup that we just witnessed wasn't as hyped up as it would have been last stage, because Fury haven't played all that well. So is this Bleed being top dogs, max performance, or other teams just slacking and falling a bit behind? We'll have to find out, obviously, tomorrow in the grand finals with them up against Elevate. Yeah. But also, if and when Bleed go international turf, what will they do internationally? That's my big question.
Well, I mean, we're only 1 game away from that one, but it is time for us to welcome in Mentalist. Maybe he can shed some light on the conversation. I don't know how much you're listening to there, Mentalist, but of course, welcome to the show again. I will just kind of reiterate Pengu's question there. Do you guys feel like you're in your best form at the moment, or do you feel like the competition around you may have dropped a bit?
That's a tough question, because I think usually when I judge my own team, I just look at my own team. I don't judge it against the teams around us, because
smart.
There is still a really big gap between most of the teams in APAC and the rest of the world, so it's quite segregated in this regard. To answer your question directly, I think we're ready. I think we're pretty good playing recently. Today's club was a hiccup, and I think they tried countering us really hard, and they played really well as well. But I think we're able to come back in the end. My mic is awesome. It's my headphone mic this time. Yeah, I know. Julio was just looking out for me. Yeah.
Good man. Good man.
Yeah.
So, keeping things internal here, Mentalist, I'm curious if somebody like Leader joining the squad has changed how you guys approach a new map like Lair. You know, having that European style leadership figure that he kind of can be in the server. Has he helped you guys make strats, approach maps differently, and like elevate you guys' team, would you say?
100%. He does tons of defense strats for us, and some of them are really good, some of them are not that good, but we try them all out. We try them all out, and then we choose the ones that we like to play. Even the bad ones, they're good situationally. We can always put them out like once in a while. And
awesome.
Our attack as well. Like I think him and I work together really well. Initially when he was introduced to the team, I was slightly afraid that he and I will clash our IG outing. Actually, in experience that almost never happens. Actually, it's always like, okay, we listen to each other, and then we always manage to come up during the round and outside of the game the best solution. So I think that has been working for us really well. And
awesome.
Yeah, while you guys are kind of figuring out your play style and refining exactly how you want the roles to work out, I'm interested how the meta evolutions have also affected that. New map in the pool, new operator in the pool, buffs, nerfs, the way that teams are playing the game is slightly changing. And as you've pointed out, like APAC is still behind the 8 ball compared to regions like Brazil and Europe. So how do you feel that constant battle is catching up with that evolving meta, especially being from a geographically challenged region like Asia?
I think recently it has gotten better. The shield meta, like it or hate it, like it's if you have a good shield player on your team, it's gonna benefit you. And fortunately for me, all my players other than Rips can play shields. So you don't want to see Rips on shields, by the way.
I believe that.
Yeah, so I don't feel the pressure to play into the meta too much, because we're also very good at not playing the shield meta, playing just adaptive the normal way. So yeah, when it comes to the regional gap, I feel like the shield meta will decrease the skill gap between the top and the lower end regions, because like I said, it's a lot more straightforward and natural to play with the shield. And if you have a good shield player, like that's half the job done. Whereas if you compare that to the previous metas, you need the whole team to understand what you're doing, and also to adapt to what the enemy is doing. But the shield meta is, if you're a shield player, maybe the guy playing behind the shield knows what they're doing, then you can apply a lot of free pressure. So yeah.
Look, I'll be honest, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the change because I'm a basic.
I think
man.
it's really fun to watch. It's really exciting to watch.
I'm a basic man. I'm the host for a reason, right?
Don't get me
I don't
wrong.
go in-
I hate playing against like triple shield and glass, all that stuff. That's gonna be horrible. But
Yeah.
fortunately, my team is good at playing against it, and to be honest, it's fun to watch. Like Siege, for the most part, has been a slow game, and it's a game where you have to understand the game for it to be enjoyable to watch. But when it comes to shields, like you see a shield running at someone, meleeing, and they're like fighting each other. That's fun to watch, right? So I think for Siege, like as a spectator, it's good.
Now I'm gonna throw my colleague under the bus here. Guz just put a comment in our chat and said mega based from Mentalist. So you're getting the props from everyone around here. Sorry guys, I'll just throw you under whenever I can. But look, Mentalist, I think we could sit here and talk all day. I think all three of us would have so many questions going into this grand final, but I kind of want to leave it on that and just let you say your final comments, because this has been a really phenomenal stage from you guys and you continue to impress us. So anything you'd like to say before we let you go?
Nothing much. We will have more to say tomorrow if we win, and a lot more to say if we lose. Yeah, hope you guys will continue supporting us, and we'll just focus on our game tomorrow now.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Mentalist. Best of luck
Thank you.
against Elevate, mate, and hopefully we're talking to you.
Hopefully.
That was a very ominous way to say hopefully, by the way.
I know, right? And as it cut away as well, like
Hopefully.
there wasn't much else to it. There was just, yeah, hopefully. Look, I think what I kind of said at the end there, I could speak to Mentalist for days and days, because that guy just he's got a wealth of knowledge and he's got a way of saying things that I think can be very much appreciated from a broadcast perspective. He's a player with great insight knowledge. He's got experience coming out his butt. That guy has been around in APAC for longer than my hair was around. So I genuinely think that, like, it's just so critical to see a player like that continue to progress through the stage. And Pengu, you're just seeing what happens when you've got firepower mixed with experience, mixed with EU knowledge, mixed with that Brazilian flair. It's just terrifying.
No, I think they bleed. They're very fortunate that they have kind of the full package, right? They got different flares, different play styles, different understandings, and they're doing a good job at bringing it all together and making themselves a very well-rounded team instead of being a, pro-Brazilian style, pro-European style.
Yep.
And like Mentalist said, he was afraid of him and Leader having some clashing in the server with their IGLing, so their in-game leading style and their communication. But they've been super respectful and they've not had those issues whatsoever. And it shows in the server with how precise and how consistent they've been this stage.
Now, Dev, you made a comment there about Reaps not being a great shield player, but even Achilles had his heel.
Yeah, true, but you can just not put him on shields and he'll probably get,
True.
27 kills and a BO3, 2-map BO3 anyway. Like, he was absolutely on fire today. It was by far and away the best player in the server. Probably all day, like, even if you include that No-Cap versus Elevate game, Reaps was so good. And he's so consistent. That's the thing that it absolutely boggles my mind. There's a kind of infamous meme with Reaps where he's got like a 1600 DPI sensitivity and he's like an absolute like twitchy player with his mouse. And he's got insane aim, but he manages to be consistent as well. That doesn't come down just to his mechanics, but also his decision making. Like, so rarely do you see Reaps have one of those moments like we see from players like Onigiri or Turdster where like, oh, he's just been caught out doing something crazy. Like, Reaps is just always consistent and he's so confident. He's just ice cold, man. And he's one of the best mechanical players Apex ever produced. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bleed can continue their form, that they can kind of assert themselves as the best team in APAC for quite some time and carry that legacy forward to be, a top 4 or even better competitor at international events.
The question for me is it nature? Is it nurture? This man is now popping off with Bleed and Bleed are popping off. Which came first, chicken or the egg? Who knows? It is time for us to move on, though. We do have a 5th place match that we've got to get to. And this one I'm really excited for. Direwolves go head-to-head with Rival Esports.